Hey crew, today we're going to talk about the differences in when I choose to FBA or FBM something and give you some information on maybe that will help you decide if FBM is right for you. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you it's right for you. Hi, and welcome to Your Selling Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Kirk, aka Your Selling Guide. In 2017, I quit a steady corporate desk job to travel the US in an RV. Along the way, I started selling on Amazon, grew multiple successful businesses, and wound up back to my roots as a small town girl. Today, I am still doing what I love, selling on Amazon and helping other sellers start and grow their own online businesses. Each week on Your Selling Podcast, we will cover different aspects of selling online and highlight other sellers just like you and I. From part-time sellers creating extra income on the side to full-time sellers growing $1 million businesses. Think of this as a sit-down with your Amazon bestie where we can learn and grow our online businesses together. Welcome to Your Selling Podcast. Like I said, we're going to talk about FBA and FBM, and honestly, I think a healthy mix of both is what makes a great Amazon business. So if you're not doing one or the other, you could really be hurting yourself as far as scaling and making more money if you're not doing both. But before I get into all that, I want to say the Amazon Dallas Meetup is just 2 weeks away now. So on April 13th in downtown Dallas, we will be meeting up at Electric Shuffle. It's like an indoor shuffleboard bar situation. We have a section reserved just for us, which is going to include food, beer, wine, soft drinks, and shuffleboard games, and most of all, chatting with other Amazon sellers like me. And there is so many amazing sellers joining us that I know you're going to learn something and have just a great time. So if you're in the Dallas area or you want to be in the Dallas area, head down and join us there. You can RSVP at yoursellingguide.com/meetup for tickets. And I'm actually flying in early, so I will be there. I'm flying in a couple days early, so I'll be there on Friday all day ready to meet with you. If you want to have a one-on-one session live in person for an hour, we can either have coffee or go out sourcing. It's up to you to decide. You can also reserve your spot for that at yoursellingguide.com/meetup. I'll put the link on the screen for all of my YouTube watchers. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome time. And I also have a new coaching group opening up in April. So if you want to check that out, head to yoursellingguide.com/coaching and you can learn more there. All right, jumping into this week's podcast. I think the easiest way to explain why I FBM versus FBA some items is just to get right into it. So reason number one why I FBM is stock shortages. So usually it seems to be once a year, so we shall see what 2024 holds for us as far as shortages. But there's always some kind of stock shortages out there. You want to be in with a community because that's the fastest way you'll know about something, like the Bolo group or any of my communities, but also just listening to the news. Now, I'm not necessarily saying watch the news. Okay, that's a whole nother story. But if you listen to the news or read articles or even just headlines, you can get a gist of what is a shortage out there. So in 2020, I think it was, something to do with the pandemic, there was a chlorine shortage. It might have been 2021. I can't totally remember. So summer 2020, 2021, one of those years, we were all selling the heck out of chlorine and making crazy money because I think it was because of the factories over in China and they couldn't get it over. I don't know the whole gist of it. All I know was there was a shortage. And so it was going for more prices because people need chlorine for their pools, right? I think a lot of people even switched out to saltwater pools. But anyways, there was a chlorine shortage. The prices went crazy high because supply and demand, when there's less supply, but the demand is high, prices go high. So there was a ton of money to be made selling chlorine. 2023, there was a cold medicine shortage. So I was selling anything from cough drops to liquid like flu, like NyQuil type stuff. I was selling all of it during the cold medicine shortage. Again, I'm FBMing all of this. The reason I'm FBMing it is because you don't know when the shortage is going to end or when Amazon might get a bunch of stuff in. You just don't know. So you want to take advantage of that and FBM it. FBM feels like you're getting your profit faster because I think you are, but because since I'm controlling it, right? So someone orders it, I send it out after they get it. So say they get it on a Monday, 7 days after that Monday, so the following Monday, I get my money in my available balance. Versus if it's sold FBA, I buy it say Monday, I pack it up Friday, drop it at the UPS store, and then it has to get to Amazon. It has to move around the warehouses, and then it's going to eventually settle and become available, and then someone's going to order it, and then someone's going to get it, and it's 7 days after that point is when that money becomes available. It's 7 days after your item was delivered to the customer. So with FBM, I feel like, I don't know if it's just a feeling or you really do get it a little bit faster, but it feels like you're getting your profit back a lot faster, and you can take advantage of these shortages in stock supply. Also, when you list at FBM, there's opportunities like if Amazon should price cap it. So hand sanitizer in 2020 was selling for a lot of money, and then people made waves and Amazon got in trouble. And so they started to price cap all of that stuff. So you could only sell it for a certain price. But with FBM, you can charge for shipping, which will sometimes make up for that price cap. So there's a lot of different options. Also, if it gets price capped, even if it's not a shortage, if it's just a toy you bought and it gets price capped, with FBM, you can now just return it to the store instead of you've already sent it to Amazon, you've paid all that shipping fees, now you got to ask for it back and pay for that and then return it to the store. There's just more freedoms with FBM. The flip side is obviously you have to pack the orders, you do the customer service and all that. But for me, it's worth it for some specific items. And shortages are the first thing that I am always FBMing it. The other reason it's kind of a shortage is if Amazon is sold out of it, right? So if Amazon is always in stock with it, but for whatever reason they're sold out for a week or two, you can make a lot of money in that week or two selling FBM before they come back on. And again, when they come back on, you can decide, can you make money at the price that they are listing it at? If you can compete with them, do they share the buy box? You can use Keepa to see if they share the buy box or not. It's in the data, or if you're in the app, you would go just scroll to the bottom to buy box statistics. If it says Amazon gets it 100% of the time, they do not share the buy box, so I wouldn't compete with them. But when they're sold out, that's a great opportunity. 2022, there was a new allergy medicine. It was like a huge end cap at Walmart, or I guess it wasn't an end cap. It's one of those things that hang on the end cap, the displays. So I just was scanning. I like to scan the health and beauty area at Walmart every once in a while. So I was just scanning that area and I was like, oh, this is new. Let me just scan it. It was totally sold out. There was no offers. So then I go to Keepa and see what was it selling for. And it was just Amazon really selling it. So I was like, well, let me just see. So I got 3 of them. I listed them at my first Walmart in store. And I listed it with a shipping because now, luckily, in the app, it will tell you if Amazon, if they're going to cap it. Before, you had to list it and see if there was a cap, but now it'll tell you, it'll light up red when you put in your selling price if it's too high. So when I saw that, so I lowered it to what was okay, and then I added like a $10 shipping fee. By the time I got to my second Walmart, those 3 had already sold. So again, it was totally, completely sold out, but Amazon and Keepa, I could see Amazon was the one who was selling it. So already to me, that's, okay, I'm going to FBM. So those 3 sold. So then at the second Walmart, they had the same little shipper. I bought all of them. And then I sold a ton of them. Amazon came back on and I returned the rest to Walmart. A lot of people have issues with returning. I don't. So I returned them to Walmart, got my money back. But I sold a lot of them in that interim when Amazon was sold out. So if there's a stock shortage or Amazon is temporarily sold out, those should be your green flags, green lights to go ahead and FBM that product. Because what's the harm, really? If it doesn't sell and you can return it to the store. Other reasons I FBM is when I create new bundles or new listings that I've created on my own. So if you are not in my community, maybe you've not heard this, but I'm really going into more of my own listings. That's where my business is heading and how I plan to scale my business. And when I create new listings, I always FBM them to start. The reason is that they take sometimes a while to sell. I don't know how fast they're going to sell or how well they're going to sell. And I just am starting with, 3. Literally, I just buy like 2 or 3 of the thing when I'm making the listings to start. Because when it sells, I know I can go get more of it. I always make my own listings with items that I can easily replan. I'm not that you can't do it, but I'm not trying to make listings for things I find at TJ Maxx and Ollie's because those are usually one and done, and I want stuff I can replan and keep selling more of. So I make my listings and I start them out FBM. For one thing, it's easier. You don't have to measure the product and weigh it and all that. Eventually you will if you send it in FBA. For two, sometimes my listings have come up Hazmat, and so I don't even really send them in FBA anyways, and I only am FBMing them. So it's a good option to start with FBM. Then if it sells and you sell a couple of them, or maybe they took off and you're selling a lot, now you can go order more and send a bunch into FBA if you want to. Or you could just keep FBMing it. It's really up to you. FBM gives you that opportunity to figure out if this thing is even going to sell, and if it doesn't, there's less risk because now you can just return it to the store. So that's another reason why I'm FBMing when I create my own listings. Still on that same topic of creating your own listings is sometimes you might get toy compliance documents, even for your own listings, or suspected IPs. And you don't want to be sending something into the Amazon warehouse that gets a suspected IP, and now you have to delete the listing, now your item's stranded, now you got to ask for it back. Again, lots of opportunities for FBM versus FBA as far as the freedom to just return stuff to the store and save money on all the fees of shipping and all that. Now, if you created a listing or a bundle and you gave yourself a suspected IP, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as a real one, or real IP on your account. You just delete the listing or change the word. So I gave myself IPs for Sonic the Hedgehog, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Starbucks. So those would be words I would recommend leaving out of your listing if you're going to create new listings with those brands, because you will give yourself a suspected IP. You can easily change the word, take it out, or just totally delete the listing, and then now the IP is off of your account. Again, suspected IP is not the same as a real IP from Amazon. They will affect your account, but it's not as bad because you can just delete it and it's gone. You don't have to appeal and do all the stuff that you do for a real IP. Hey crew, is your Amazon business set up for success this year? Do you know how much profit you really made on the item you just sold? Or what about this? Do you notice when the Amazon FBA fees change on a product in your inventory? These are just some of the reasons why I love Sellerboard and why I've partnered with them on the You're Selling podcast. I have been using Sellerboard for 4 years now, and I absolutely do not know how I will run my business without it. I love how simple Sellerboard is to use. The desktop version is set up so easy. As soon as you connect your Amazon account, all of your products from the past, anything you've ever sold, is going to flow into that. And the way I love it and use it the most is actually when I'm outsourcing. I have Sellerboard app right on my phone, and I can visually see the images of the products I'm selling today, yesterday, last month, last year, whatever I want to look at. I can see it in real time right on my Sellerboard app. Sellerboard is an affordable must-have tool for all Amazon sellers. And as listeners of this podcast, they have given you 2 months free to try it out for yourself. There's absolutely no credit card required to sign up, and you can cancel at any time. Head to yoursellingguide.com/sellerboardprofit to set up your free trial today. Again, yoursellingguide.com/sellerboardprofit to get your 2-month free trial today. Hazmat is another reason you might want to FBM. So because things, I can never send stuff to the warehouse Hazmat for whatever reason. My flammable inventory is at 0. You can email Amazon and ask them to increase your limits, your storage limits, but I just never have. I always end up FBMing. I have so many deodorants that they're not even aerosol, they're just deodorants. I don't know why they're popping Hazmat, but I just end up FBMing them. They're super easy to FBM. They cost $6 at most if it's under a pound, and even over a pound now. I ship most of my stuff post office because the post office is right here. The UPS store is 40 minutes away. So I tend to do post office anyways, and they are super cheap, even over a pound, 5-pound items. They're actually not that expensive. They can be $7, $8, $9 to ship doing ground advantage or cubic ground advantage. It's not that bad. Actually, the shipping fees have gotten better, I think, since the USPS changed their whole shipping model this year. So another reason to FBM is high dollar amount ticket price. So you guys, I think you all know this, but I sold a beauty item that I got for $189. I sold it for $1,200, $1,200, and I sold 9 of them. I FBM that thing because, first of all, I wanted control over it. So if the customer was going to say it was opened or whatever, I had photos of it before I sent it with it wrapped up in its sealed packaging, the box, everything. I took all my photos on the upfront. I don't trust Amazon to, one, treat my high ticket items nicely, and I don't really trust the customers, unfortunately. So I wanted to have all of my information on the upfront in case something happened. You can also, with FBM, do signature delivery, which I also did on every single one of those. It costs like $2 or $3 more, but it was worth it because now someone can't claim they didn't get their package because I did signature delivery confirmation and I have that extra protection. None of them got returned, but if they did get returned, I would have that, photos of it from before to prove that no, like they used it and I could file a safety claim or whatever I had all my information on the upfront. So anything that's high ticket, I don't trust Amazon and I'd rather take control, make sure I'm shipping it nicely. It's not going to arrive crushed, all of that stuff. I also FBM on items that are higher ranks. I really do go into the higher ranks now. There's less competition and things actually sell. So if you want to go into the higher ranks, definitely test it out. Don't go crazy clearing the shelf, but maybe try 2, 3, 4 of an item that you think might sell. That $1,200 beauty item, it had like a rank of 500,000 in beauty because it's expensive. It's not flying off the shelves, right? I did sell it really fast, but the rank was telling me it wasn't going to sell very fast. And so I think I sold them all in a month or two. But if I had sent them in FBA with that rank, because it's high price, the rank makes sense that it would not be selling. But I wasn't sure when I first started it. So with it high rank and high ticket price, I decided to FBM it. Other beauty items that are higher rank, I'm actually still selling higher ranks, but I'm FBMing them. That way, if they don't sell in 3 months, I'm not getting all these storage fees for every month that they are there. They're just sitting here in my shed or in my office, and I don't have to worry about all the additional fees for an FBA. I have stuff, so at Kohl's, I will, anytime they have that 50% off clearance, I will go and I'm getting, so in the winter time, I'm usually buying winter stuff, but it's always like, right now, right? Like March. So no one's really buying winter stuff anymore. They're buying spring. So I just go ahead and list that Carter's Baby stuff, FBM, and when either someone needs it for a gift or when winter rolls around again, that it does sell. So all my winter stuff I bought last year has already sold. Now I have spring stuff that I bought at the end of spring that should start to sell now because we're getting into spring. So things like that, higher rank or the off season, I'd rather FBM it so that I'm not having it in the warehouse. And then the warehouse, if they don't sell, if you sell nothing for, I think it's 6 months, they'll actually just send you your stuff back. So if it's not going to sell within 3 months because of the rank or whatever, or if I'm just testing it out, I will FBM it. Another reason is right now, it's right around the corner, meltable season. So you can't send anything that is going to melt into Amazon FBA during the summer months. So it's April 15th through October 15th, or technically I think it's October 16th. Anything that you have in the warehouse that is meltable, you should ask for it back by like April 10th, because otherwise they could dispose of it or it will just go to shredded. You're going to have to ask for it back anyways. So meltable season is another reason why you want to FBM. Actually, when you FBM during multiple season, the profit goes crazy high too because there's less competition because less people want to sell during the summer months. I personally don't sell like straight chocolate, like just straight chocolate that's going to melt. But I do sell like Harry and David chocolate covered raspberries or blueberries or whatever they are. I sell power bars that have chocolate on them because that's not really going to melt. And I'm just not comfortable. Again, but if you are comfortable or you want to take the risk is that if it arrives melted, you would refund the customer so you don't get bad feedback, right? So that's the risk in selling meltables. And for a lot of people, maybe it's worth the risk because the profit is there. So just get thermal mailers. You can get them on Amazon or you can get them on Uline. Anywhere you get your supplies, you can get thermal mailers to help keep the heat out. And then polybag and ice pack, just find cheap ice packs. You can probably get them at the dollar store or maybe even a liquidator has a bunch of ice packs. Freeze them, put it in a poly bag so it keeps the condensation out of your rest of your package, but in with the ice pack. and throw that in the mail and see how it goes. Again, the risk is you're going to have to refund someone if it arrives multiple or something happens, but the reward could be a lot of profit, which might outweigh any risk. So definitely, if it's right for your business, multiple season is a great high profit opportunity to FBM. Okay, so what do I FBA? Because that seems like I'm FBMing a lot, right? So I literally FBA everything else. So I FBA grocery specifically. I do sometimes have some grocery items listed FBM, but it's been my experience, and again, test everything out for yourself. It's been my experience that grocery FBM does not sell as well as FBA. So I send all my grocery items in FBA. Literally everything else that I think will sell within 3 months or that has really great ranks, I send it in FBA because the bulk of my business, probably 90% of my business is FBA, because that's how I'm able to send in as much stuff as possible. I literally wouldn't be able to, it's just me, I wouldn't be able to FBM 100 something orders every day and do everything else that I have to do. But for the most part, even when I have a hot item with FBM, I'm just doing like 20 orders a day. It's pretty easy. It's manageable. It might take me an hour a day, but because I don't have time to do FBM for everything else, that I just send in everything FBA. Like I said, I think a healthy mix of both is a great opportunity to scale and grow your Amazon business. I would love to know which way you do. Are you scared of one? Do you only do one? What's holding you back? I would recommend, if you're scared of FBM or FBA, because people are scared either way, just do it, because it's not as scary. And once you do it, all that fear of the unknown will be totally gone, and you will be able to grow your Amazon business doing it. I'm going to show here my free shipping template. I toggle off the Amazon, there's a little toggle where they will help decide when it's going to be there. I don't have that. I just have free shipping template. And on my free shipping template, which is what I use 90% of the time for my FBM items, on that template, I do charge for standard shipping and expedited shipping. And when people want their stuff faster, they do pay it, but it's on my free shipping template. When you're FBMing, make sure you are factoring in shipping. Shipping is not free. Even if you have a free template, it's going to cost you money. So make sure you're factoring in that shipping cost while you are doing your profit. So if something makes $5, but it's going to cost $5 to ship, you need to have it be making $10 profit to buffer in that $5 that it's going to cost to ship. I use Pirate Ship to estimate any shipping. And sometimes when Amazon's pricing for something seems out of whack, I'll head over to Pirate Ship, and sometimes I do buy shipping for FBM from Pirate Ship, but for the most part I use Amazon because you get the protections of the safety claim, and if the carrier damages it or it doesn't arrive, you get your money back. So there's a lot of protections with buying it through Amazon. However, I do use Pirate Ship to estimate how much I think something might cost. So it's a free account on Pirate Ship. You would just put in an address. So if you're in New York, put in California, see how much it's going to cost to ship the furthest away from you. And now you'll have a buffer of what that item might cost you. Then go ahead and list it and try FBM. I promise you, you won't regret it. You might make mistakes. You might have some things that you have to refund and things go wrong, but at the end of the day, you're learning, and those mistakes are helping you learn. So I would absolutely recommend FBM if you are not already. And if you're not FBAing, you guys, it's not that hard. It's not that scary. Definitely try FBA. That is it for this podcast. I hope to see you in Dallas. And if you would like to be on the podcast, be sure to reach out to me at podcast@yoursellingguide.com, and we can get you scheduled to be on the podcast this year. I can't wait to meet everyone in Dallas. And until next week, happy sourcing.